Okay, you
So
share
shall
your screen. We will
yeah,
focus on that.
yeah, sure. So I'm representing my screen. Please let me know once it is visible to all of you. Yeah, good afternoon, all of you, and welcome to with this webinar of awareness on cybersecurity and
Just a
information
minute.
security.
Just a minute, Sanjeev. Bhavna ma'am, are you ready first?
Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah. Uh,
Okay, sir. Okay.
Yes, ma'am, you are audible.
Okay, ma'am. A very good afternoon to all the participants present over here. Uh, it's my pleasure to welcome our speaker today, Mr. Sanjeev Kumar. Mr. Sanjeev Kumar is working as a cyber security consultant with one of the world's largest Big Four firm. He is certified ethical hacker and holds a postgraduate diploma in cyber security and law from University of Delhi. He has experience in web application security assessment, internal external network assessment, Wi-Fi penetration testing, security solution review, WAPT, and forensic. Mr. Sanjeev also worked with numerous government and private organization clients to secure infrastructure and web applications from real-world attacks. Welcome, sir. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you, Bhavna, for brief introduction about me. So, audience, is my screen is visible to all of you?
yes,
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 sir. Yes, sir. It is visible.
So, yeah. So today the agenda, as you can suggest, as you can let aware about, like it's a awareness training on the information security. So let's start with the with the training. Yeah. So all of you, one open question to you, to all of you is like, what is information security? So you can broad categorize information security and cyber security. Both are different terms. Like cyber security is a part of information security only, but information security is a broad term. Under information security, everything comes like you can say computer security, network security, web security, every domain of information security, every domain of the security comes under the information security. So information security basically works on the CIA thread or principle of the cyber security, that is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So let's understand these three terms: what is confidentiality, integrity, and availability. So confidentiality is protecting your information from unauthorized persons or people so that they cannot access it. Let's take an example, when you send an email to the to your friend or someone else, so you wanted that email should be confidential, that should be read by the authorized person to whom you have sent it. That's called confidentiality. Now comes to integrity. Let's assume now you have sent an email to your friend and you have entered one content into that email. Now you don't want to lose your content, you don't want to change the content, so that when it reaches to your friend, so that's comes and that is called as integrity. like uh, Protect information from unintentional changes, that is called integrity. And availability, now again coming to Gmail example, let's assume now you want to send an email, but Gmail is not available, or Gmail is unavailable due to some maintenance issues, due to some server issues. So that's called availability. If your service or is not available, then it is not a good practice in terms of information security. So these are the three basic terminology that every information security should adhere. Like it should, the information should be confidential, and it should not get changed by any other person or by any unintentional or unauthorized person. And availability, the service that you are using, it should be available 24 into 7. So any doubt on this CIA trade of information security? Yeah, you can chat on group also.
move ahead.
Shall I move? Okay, so I'm moving ahead. Now what is information s- information, and what is information asset? So everything in the organization or anywhere, whatever you're talking about in local scenario or at a bus stop, at home, is something that is relevant to you, or something that that predict your uh, predict your, you can say, the job responsibilities and the functions activity that you are going to perform in daily life, that is called information. So let's assume an example here. What is information? Let's say if you're talking about in the general bus stop, like my father is a like a train driver, and also you are revealing your information that my father works as a train driver in the central ministries. So that's called information. Now what is an asset? Asset can be anything, like it's a tangible or intangible. Tangible and intangible means like this, it's kind of software and hardware piece of assets. A software which cannot be touched, and it's hardware which can be touched. So software, let's assume like antivirus. You cannot touch the antivirus that is installed into the computer. That's called a tangible asset. Intangible, like assets are like hardware assets that you can say buildings. Buildings are intangible assets, or you can say like computers that are intangible assets, that are again an assets. So information assets like is a piece of information that is stored in any manner which is recognized as a valuable to the organization or valuable to the firm. So that's called information assets. So now let's move to next topic. So that is now awareness to society for cyber security. So open question to all of you, like what is cyber safety? Anyone willing to answer?
Safety over the
So
internet.
yes, means cyber safety is like how we are using the internet in a safe manner or say in a secure way. Let's assume nowadays everyone using Facebook, Instagram, and posting their photographs, but they don't know the side effects of posting their photographs on the internet. Let's assume if Deepak sir has posted like I'm on the vacation at Goa with family photographs. So someone having a like evil eye on the Mr. Deepak, and they can take the photograph of Mr. Deepak and can create a fake account having name as Mr. Deepak Gambhir, and same photograph can be used by recent photograph can be used by someone else, or evil person, uh, uh, that 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 percepts like this Instagram ID or Facebook ID belongs to Mr. Deepak. So we should not add unknowns or unauthorized persons into our like social media links and all. That's a part of cyber safety. So we should keep the information safe and secure, and we should be responsible to keep our information safe and secure from the unauthorized persons, or to whom we don't know. That's called like cyber safety. Now, I have few slides on cyber safety. That is like why it is being more important. Like like nowadays you can uh, hear the news. Like recently, the Twitter hacking news was there, and Paytm database was hacked by the hackers and all. So if you reveal the information, what happened to this recent Twitter hacking? So someone has created the fake accounts of of the persons that are having like more users or more likes. So they have created a fake accounts and they have tweeted a fake link. People has opened that link and they got victim of that email. So that was the scenario of this Twitter hack recent that was happened. So that is why like we should have open eyes, and we should treat everything as a safe and secure while on the internet, while browsing anything on the internet. So now, like these are the 10 points that I made, like how to be secure on the internet. Like first, I made like you should have a basic knowledge of computer and internet security, like what is the purpose of computer and all, or how to use in a safe manner. Then second, like we should check always emails carefully before sending it to any person. Third one, like we should not use HTTP websites, because it sends the credentials or password into a plain text, so that anyone can intercept that messages into the communication and can predict your passwords. So we should send our confidential information only on HTTPS connections. So fourth one, like we should when we are dealing with online banking, mobile money wallets and all, so we should not use in front of the public. We should keep an eye, like whosoever is anyone is like watching us, is anyone having a shoulder surfing on us or not. So these are the 10 points that we have to like as a general audience we should take care about these. And then we have like always protect your data on the computer like by using BitLockers and all. And then we have like we should use only secure Wi-Fi. We should not use open Wi-Fi. Let's assume if you are into the cafe coffee day and you're using the Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi there. So what the hackers can do, like they can create a free Wi-Fi for you. And let's assume you got connected to free Wi-Fi. Now, if you are using their Wi, hello, am I audible?
Yes, yes, sir. You can.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's assume you connected to hackers Wi-Fi. So you will be happy like I'm using free Wi-Fi. I'm saving my internet and all. So what hacker is doing, like he has given you a free Wi-Fi and he can create a tunnel between between his mobile and between your device. Whatever you are surfing on your device, he can easily monitor whether it's a Facebook, whether it's a Instagram. Whenever you insert ID and password there, he can get that password because the internet belongs to him and it's not a secured. So it is always recommended, do not perform any transactions on free Wi-Fi, and do not like share your secret tokens or secret passwords on the free Wi-Fi. So I recommend do not use any free Wi-Fi. Nothing is free nowadays. So everything is having their own perspective and their own will. So now, like, uh, and how nowadays people are using like passwords are like PAN card number, first name of their lover, and second last name of their lover, and keeping the password as a like complex password, and maiden name of their mothers. These are the passwords the Indians are using nowadays. So I recommend like password should be a passphrase. Let's assume Billy doodh pee ke bhag gayi. So here this is a passphrase we can easily remember, and it's again a strong password and more than 8 characters, where we can replace the characters like Billy, BILLI. So I we can replace with explanation, and then B we can represent with the dollar sign. That all we can do our own uh, uh, permutations and all. So we should create a strong password and complex password, and we should install all the updated antiviruses and anti-hacking software in our computers. So and we should not turn off firewall. So whenever we are turning firewall off, so it means like anyone, any the person, any evil person or any hacker can send any malicious traffic or any virus or you can say worms, trojans into your computer and can get your computer destroyed. So we should not turn off the firewall, and we should not keep the antivirus outdated. So these are the 10 basics cyber safety practices that public should follow. And now we'll go to next. So let's assume if you become a victim of cyber fraud and all. So let's assume someone has called you and said like, sir, you have won the 10 lakh rupees in your bank account. Please provide me the debit card number and PIN. So how to report and how to recover that loss before getting into more critical losses. So we in India we have a like MITI or is organization that created these that's closely monitoring these frauds and all, so we can report to them. In India we have a CERT team, computer emergency response team, so we can respond to them. And this government has initiated this cyber search kendra, and we can report any crime related to computer system or device to this cyber swacha kendra. You can send an email to incident@certin.org.in. You can reach out to these telephone numbers if you ever become a victim of this cyber fraud. So these are the helpline numbers where you can raise your complaints regarding your cyber frauds and all. Any questions, audience? Covering very basics, but we have something phishing and social engineering at the end. That's a practical. So now these are the types of cyber crimes like identity theft and invasion of privacy. Like as I said, like if if Deepak sir is posting their images on this Instagram, Facebook, I can take his photos and I can create a new account ID with named as Deepak and put his photo. That is called identity theft and invasion of privacy. So again, there are some charges and legal cases can be done on that evil person. Whosoever is doing that. So there is the internet fraud and ATM fraud. In whenever you go to ATM, what you usually do, like you put the ATM card there and you put the ATM pin and get the cash out. So in ATM, whenever you insert the card into the ATM machine, so you should check like what is the gap between the card scheming. So I have mentioned one here, one term, that is card scheming. So I will show you practically here. What do I mean by that? So you can see the images here. So you usually insert the card in this machine. So you should like carefully watch the gap between the upper and lower between the card machine. So if the gap is more than card size, then there is a card scheming machine that have been embedded into the ATM. What that will do, it will scan your card from the upper portion and lower portion, and it sends the detail to the hacker. And for your kind information, like there is no requirement of OTP at all for internet transactions. You can try your cards for any international transactions. It will not ask for any ATM pin and any OTPs, and the hacker can use your card for the international transactions. So this is the gap you can see here. It's very wide. So this gap should be very low whenever you are taking the money from the ATM. That's called a card scheming fraud in the ATM. So again, there is a wire fraud. Wire fraud is when I'm talking to on this channel, like I'm using Zoom platform. Someone might intercept my traffic in the air and can listen to my audio and recording into their system. So that's called a wire fraud. So we do have a different types of cybercrime that are like file sharing and privacies. Dheeraj raised one question, I think.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yeah, hi, good afternoon.
Sir, using virtual keyboard is safer.
Virtual keyboard is safer, yes, because you can say like if you're using normal keyboard, so what hackers do, they usually install the key loggers into your computer. Whenever you press any key on the computer, that key strokes will be sent to the hackers automatically. So that is why virtual keyboard is a best feature, like to avoid these key loggers that are inbuilt into your machine by the hackers. That can be inbuilt through the worms and virus.
Okay. Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So again, there is a like these are the cyber crimes that are going on. Child pornography is one of them, and hacking is one of them. And these are the topics only that are cyber crimes, and we should be aware about these cyber crimes, and we should take the preventions and precautions while using internet on the machine. So these are the computer viruses, like you know what is the virus and worms into the computer that usually affect your computer and give the access of your computer to the hacker. So and stenography is whenever someone is sending an image to you, in that image there is a message encrypted a message encrypted in that image. How we do it? There are some certain I will give you example. So let's assume if you choose any image here. So I'm choosing my image. If I go here, If let's assume like if I want to send some secret information to anyone, I have chosen my image here. Here you can see I'm sending one password here. So I'm sending this password to password in this image. So you don't, for you it's an image. For you it's an image. Again, highlighting my words. For you it's an image. Like I can send my password here. I can send any virus code here, or I can send any virus code, very small code that can crash your computer itself. That you can call it out logic bomb. See, this is the logic bomb virus. It's a very small code, like hardly of 7 to 8 characters. Whenever you save this logic bomb virus file into your computer, once you double click on it, and then your computer automatically get crashed, and you have to install new Windows. Then blue screen will be appearing on your desktop. So, like before like opening any image, just check the signature of that image. Like do not double click on that image. Anyone, any question on this steganography?
Yeah, Sanjeev.
Any question on steganography?
Yeah, Sanjeev. How much secure it is? I mean, steganography.
Like basically it is used in the army and defenses, like whenever they have to transmit the informations, so they are not using ciphers. You are aware about there are many ciphers like AES, DES, and these are public known ciphers, and these can be encrypted. In ancient times, like army was using this steganography to send their secret messages over the internet. So earlier it was strong, but nowadays it's very weak, and anyone can decode the message by using a steganography decoder. So I can say it's not safe and secure nowadays. So we are using like moreover encryption algorithms that are very much secure.
Can we use steganography with encryption?
Yeah, we can use steganography with encryption.
That will be
Again,
useful in
encryption comes under two types, like symmetric and asymmetric. So if we are using symmetric encryption, then it's a fast encryption. Like if you want to send out a message to sender for like very fast and all, and it should not be decoded, then you should go with the symmetric encryption. If you want to more robust or complex encryption, then you can go ahead with the asymmetric encryption with steganography.
Okay.
So shall I move ahead?
Yeah.
Yeah. So as I discussed, like these
Signature
are
of
the
a image.
culprits. Yeah.
How to check the signature of a image before opening?
How to check the signature of the image?
Hmm.
Like whenever you open that image, do not double click on that. Just let's assume any mail is there. I'm just opening one mail. See, this is the mail. I have got it and all. So I will go here. I will note it's not an image PDF. So I need to check any mail is coming, any image is there. So whenever you receive any image, just click on the what he will do. He will send an image on the email or on the WhatsApp. Just do not double click on that. Just click on the right click and see the signature. Like it's a sometimes they use a double extensions in the image. Let's assume .jpg is one of the known extension that you all know, or .png is known extension. What hackers now doing, they're using the double extensions, like .php then .png. For you it's a .png, but in actual it's a .php, because as I said, like the .php code, the virus code will be into that image. Once you double click, .php code will be executed. For example, this. That I will show in the tomorrow section, like how we can use these upload files and all. So so whenever there is a option, like I'm not able to find in there like upload functionality. When there is the option of upload functionality, what I can use, like I can upload the image that I shown to you with the two extensions, .php then .png. So you need to check the extension, or you can check from here also. See, it's a .png. You can see here, it's a .png, and once you rename this .php and .png by steganography, you're putting your code, that remote code execution code, or taking the code that can take the control of your machine to the hacker in that message. So once you double click, that PHP code will run. For you, it's an image, but in actual, it's not an image. It's like remote code. It will give the remote code session of your machine to the hacker. Any questions?
No, no, good.
Yeah. So just check on the double extensions for this before double clicking on the image. So these are the like virus and malwares. I hope everyone is aware about what are the virus and what are malwares. Virus are like that spreads automatically in the computer. Once you double click on any of the virus, it self replicate into the computer. It creates its own multiple copies, and basically these are sent by the hackers to your computer. How these can be sent? Whenever you open any suspicious websites, and it get automatically downloaded into your computer. C drive and one folder is a system32. It get stored in system32 folder. So whenever you double click on that malicious application or malicious software that you installed from unauthorized website, so it creates a self copies, and it slow down your computer. It will not like it will not it will not like crash your computer, but it slows down, and slowly when the any malicious virus has been downloaded, it can give the content of your computer to the malicious hacker. So malware is similar to virus, and there are different kinds of virus and malwares. So as a like cybersecurity awareness session, what how you can protect your computer from virus and malware, you should enable all security protections inside your computers. Let's say firewall should be enabled, and you should update your antivirus on regular basis, and you should keep your backup of your data regularly, so that if someone has encrypted your computer by ransomware or something, if you're having backup, then you should not pay a single penny to the hackers. So because you are having your latest data um, on your system or on your drive. So what I do in my system, I usually take the backup of my data in the Google Drive, so that whenever my system get corrupted, I can easily like format. I can get the data from Google Drive itself. Or you should not install any any unauthorized software into your machine. So this is the Kali Linux machine. Through this machine, people or hackers get the access to your computer. So let's assume there are five different phases of hacking. First one is like reconnaissance. First is reconnaissance, means gathering information about your target, or whosoever is the target for me. Let's assume if I'm targeting Mr. Deepak. So I can use one beautiful tool is there in the Kali Linux, that is OSINT. So I can use OSINT tool in the Kali Linux. I can gather the information of Mr. Deepak Gambhir over the internet, whatever the profiles are available, so that I can have a much information about Mr. Deepak. So before going to him or before speaking to him. So that's called reconnaissance. Then we have a different phase that like uh, like once we get the information, then when we approach that person, and we gather more information, and what are the weakness and all. These are the like scenarios through which we gather the information, and we target the employees. Then we again gather the information like where the Mr. Deepak works, and what is the official mail ID. We send the emails to Mr. Deepak, and he will like, let's assume he's working in Galgotia College. I can know the who is the chairman of Galgotia College from the So I can send an email to Mr. Deepak, and I will introduce myself as an chairman of Galgotia College, and Mr. Sunil Galgotia. So he will definitely going to respond to me, and because I'm the chairman, he will think like I'm the legitimate person, and he should respond to me. So that category comes under phishing and all that we'll be speaking about in few minutes. So that's all about the protection against virus and malware. Anyone having any questions on up to here? Cyber, like where to report if you're victim of cyber crime, and what to do to keep your mobile or keep your network safe and secure.
Any question from any participant?
Yeah, Sanjeev.
Yeah.
If someone has stolen your ATM,
Yes.
someone has stolen your ATM, so can he use somewhere else so that he can get the money from that?
Right.
So
As I
nowadays
said,
it is secured with some OTP. So can it be used without OTP?
like Indian cards can be used for international transaction. If you can share your card right now, I can show it like how I can make the transaction over the internet purchases. If I have a card, I do not have your OTP pin or ATM password. Even though I can do a transaction with your card for international transaction. So it is recommended you should inform the call center immediately whenever you lose the card.
Okay, there is no other way.
No,
So
there is
that
no other
means
way.
I can stop that transaction.
Yes, yes. No, there is no other way. You have to go to bank immediately.
Good.
Yeah. So I'm moving ahead. So I hope everyone is using Gmail and other Instagram, Facebook, and we are having lots of password nowadays. And how to remember password and how to check my password is safe and secure. Let's assume I have given one website. So if someone is So let's assume most of the people keep the password. Anyone can tell simplest password that you have kept in the past, but nowadays you're not using. So this is the website from where you can check your current password or current email address. Then you will come to know that have you ever been victim of cyber fraud or not. Let's assume if I put an email. Um, this is my mail ID. If I put here, so I can check um, am I ever been a victim of cyber fraud or not? So he said no, oh no, pond. So I'm never like see we are using this email in various accounts, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and all. If someone hacked Twitter and Facebook, so definitely my credential would get leaked. So if if uh, if my credential get leaked, then this website will tell me out like my credentials are over the internet. I have to change it or not. So this is the website where we can check out have I been hacked or not. So any question on this website?
Okay, move ahead.
Yeah. So I was talking about the passwords complexity and all. So here, the passwords that we should use, it should be upper. We should use both upper and lower cases, and it should be alphanumeric. Or if we can have a passphrase, then it would be a better, secure and complex password. So like we should not use like passwords as simple as like 1 2 3 4 5 6, or these passwords can be breakdown by using um uh, we have a different Hashcat and John the Ripper tools in the Kali Linux that are basically used to crack the passwords. Like you can see here, this is the Kali Linux machine where we use these are the password attacks. These are the automotive tools that are used to get your passwords. Crunch is one of them. Hashcat, John the Ripper, NC Crack. These are the tools that can generate the password. Let's assume if I use see I'm using Crunch. So this is the Kali. If I'm new to Kali Linux machine, if I want to know what is crunch and all, you can use. It will give
Kali
you the
Linux machine.
sorry. This is another operating system that are used by the hackers to get the unauthorized access of your machine, whether it is a Windows or Linux. So basically, it consists of most of the tools, automotive tools that are used to carry out the attacks to the target or to the victim. Any question? So as I said, like there are recent information gathering tools are there, then vulnerability analysis, web application analysis. These are the free operating system that has been rolled out for hackers. Hackers are using this operating system to carry out their daily automotive attacks on the websites, on the mobile application, on the or sending the fraud emails or sending the phishing emails to the people. Yeah. Any questions?
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we have any specific resource on internet, like any specific website, which can give us the information about the hackers or the list of malicious access has happened with your machine earlier in the past?
So that's a nice question. Like, let's assume most of the people are using here like Windows machine. Correct me if I'm not wrong, right? So in the Windows machine, like we should check like are we on the latest updated software or not. So first we need to check this. And as you said, like is there any machine or machine there or not? So there is no machine till now who test out your test out your machines, like are you hacked or not. So I'm using Bitdefender antivirus here. So this is the good antivirus that I can say and I can recommend to the people. Here, like I can start and protection is there. Like I can keep my firewall on and off. I can keep the anti-spam on off. Through the firewall, I cannot access the internet without like there is a like I if you have heard about like if I'm talking on this website, so this connection can be will like capture your all the packets that are transferring from this machine to another's machine. uh, it will list out every protocols or every information on that Wireshark tool. So I'm not having that tool, that is a license based tool. Let me see if I'm having. Let's say this is the tool. So I have to update this tool. Other actually this is not updated, so that is why I'm unable to use it. Interfaces are not shown. So as you said, like there is a no like website, proper website through which we can check out like have I been hacked or not? This machine has been compromised or not? So you can opt for the Hacker News. This is the Hacker News where you can get the latest hacks. This is the latest hacker news where you can get the latest hacks that are happening to the happening in the real world, and you can check whether your machine is a like a victim of this hack or not. Let's assume this is a like UFI bootkit malware found in active in the wild. So this is again one of the like attack you can read out here, and you can check in your machine whether it's been into your machine or not. By checking, you can as I mentioned earlier, you should have a latest signatures of the antivirus. Antivirus should be updated to the latest signature whenever there is a hack happens in the real world. So these big companies like you can say Capture Sky, Quick Heal and all, they get the signature of this antivirus. Every virus or every like hacking is having some malicious activity or some malware that is going to be installed into your machine. So they will be having that signature. If you are on the latest antivirus and they have that signature, and let's assume this hack happened, so if you scanned your machine through the antivirus, if that signature has been captured in your machine, then you are victim of that hack or that you can say malware or that virus. only the antivirus is the solution. Yeah, I hope I have answered your question.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So next, anyone is having any question on this?
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir, I would like to ask that how we can prevent our mobile phones with the help of any antivirus. Is there any antivirus that you can suggest?
Yeah, again, there are many like antivirus in the market, so I cannot. I'm not here to market any of the brand. So, but you can choose your according to your according to your visibility. Let's assume if you are doing any online transactions and all, so you should not use any unauthorized applications. So also, I'm not using any antiviruses in my mobile phones. I simply prefer no to unauthorized applications. I install the application only from the authorized sources, that is Play Store and all. So you should not install the application from unauthorized person, or whenever your friend forward any links to your WhatsApp, you should not install. Whenever you install the link, any unauthorized application into your mobile application, so through Kali Linux machine, there is a tool that is called as Metterpreter. That Metterpreter can listen. See, I can give you one brief example here. See, so this, let's assume if I've sent you a one application over the WhatsApp, so and you have installed that. Are you getting what I'm saying?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So what I can do, like I can use this Metasploit tool that is inbuilt into this Kali Linux machine. So wait, Control C. So what I will do, I will type here MSF console. So this will open my Metapletter command shell here. So I can create one payload. I can create one application for you. I will send you on this WhatsApp link. And definitely, if I am a like good friend to you, you will be going to down like you will be getting 10 100 rupees 100 into your Paytm. So you will be downloading my applications. So here, like you can see, there are 2000 plus exploits are there. Exploits means the things that can exploit your mobile, that can take your mobile as a victim, and create a shell. Shell means like creating a listening port into my machine. I can listen every traffic that is going from your machine to any of the website. Like let's say it's a bank website, or let's say it's a WhatsApp communication to your friend. I can use these number of exploits. So here, as you see, and that I've opened, I'm not going to send you one this like how we can do this. So this is simple steps that are here. See. So I've opened Metasploit in front of you. So this is the step. See, I will get the inet my current IP address from this command and all. Then what I will do, I will send this payload. This P is for payload. I'm creating an Android payload, and reverse TCP means I'm listening to your mobile instead of whatever connection your mobile will initiate to the internet, that I can listen, and where I can listen. This is the listening host. This is the my machine, attacking machine. This is called Kali Linux. So here I can and there I can listen to your machine on I can listen to your mobile on my machine, that is localhost, and this is the port where I am listening, and this is the ethical APK that I've created, ehacking.apk, that I have sent to you on your mobile. Once you double click on this e-hacking mobile application, and then it will create a tunnel, or from your mobile to my this Kali Linux machine, where I can listen your traffic, and I can dump your all the messages that are from bank, or I can like take your images. I can turn on your camera without your consent or without your permission. So this is the steps that are used to hack your mobile phone through Metterpreter and with the Kali Linux operating system. So this is the simple steps. See, you can see here. I have sent this link to your mobile application. You have downloaded this APK. Once you download this APK, then you will double click on it. It will the firewall or the mobile security will tell you that you should not install, but you will definitely install because you trust your internet rather than mobile. So once you install this, and you will give all the permissions to this all the permissions to this e-hacking. Once you have given the permission, here I will get the MetaTrader shell. See, started reverse TCP handler on this connection. So I can listen your every connection, and I can do anything on your mobile through this MetaTrader tool on my Kali Linux machine. So here you can see these are the commands that I can use. And see, these are the dump. I can dump your contacts. These are the command. I can get see. You can see fetching 3 contacts into list that you have. I can get your contacts list. I can turn on your camera and everything. I can do it in this mobile hacking. Any question on this mobile hacking? How to hack your mobile phones? Anyone?
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So you should means the solution. The solution to your question is you should not trust any unauthorized source to install any mobile application. So to safeguard your mobile application, mobile phone, you should download the applications only from trusted source. You should not trust any of the WhatsApp media, Instagram to download anything in any application. Or you should limit the permissions while giving to the application. Let's assume if all of us having WhatsApp, so everyone has given every permissions to WhatsApp. You should give only limited permissions to the WhatsApp. Let's say I have given access to contacts. I've given access to images. You should not give the access to listen to you to WhatsApp. And there are permission in Gmail also. You can see here. I can give you brief overview also. See. So if you go here, so I can see the password recently I changed, and these are the like two-factor authentication that I've turned. Even the even person is knowing my password. He cannot use my Gmail until unless I share the two-step verification OTP with him. This is the like percent, and recently it was logged in from Samsung J2 and on 27th September. I can have I can have a logs on whosoever is accessing my Gmail and all. What are the Windows machine? I can I can manage the devices here from here and see my Gmail has been accessed by these numbers of persons and these number of application. WhatsApp is accessing my Gmail. I given access to WhatsApp because like it's storing my backup of WhatsApp chat into the Gmail. So through you can customize your permissions while installing any mobile applications. So it's better if you can implement 2FA in WhatsApp also and in everywhere. So that would be a great, like you can say, precautions for the mobile applications. Any questions? Anyone?
व्हाट्सएप वाला फिर से एक बार बता दीजिए.
WhatsApp वाला. Let's say WhatsApp में आपको क्या जानना है?
वो आपने जीमेल का बताया ना, उससे व्हाट्सएप में क्या क्या चेक करना चाहिए वाला जो था ना, वो प्लीज बता दीजिए.
हाँ, जैसे आपने WhatsApp इंस्टॉल किया, लेट्स अज्यूम आप जाओ अपने सेटिंग्स में, जाओ मोबाइल की सेटिंग्स में गए.
G, be in English.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the document
So can you open the mobile settings? Yeah, are you with me? If you go into the application allowed to the WhatsApp and what you have not allowed. So in the permissions matrix of permissions manager, there are few permissions that you have given to WhatsApp. So you should be wise enough to give the permission to the WhatsApp applications. So let's assume I am having a dictionary application and I have given only a few permissions to WhatsApp. That is like a storage or telephone. So I can give I have a permission to deny the access to storage. I have a permission to deny the access to telephone. So dictionary doesn't require the like storage permission from my perspective. So I have denied. I have not given any permissions to dictionary. So this is what you have to choose enough while giving permissions to any application. I hope I have answered your question.
Yes sir, thank you.
Neetu ma'am, you want to ask something? Neetu ma'am, you have raised your hand here. Neetu.
Hello, yes, ma'am.
Yeah,
Hello.
please.
Hello, sir. My question
Yeah.
is that, let's suppose I have lost my phone. In that case, my all accounts are open. Then how can I secure my accounts?
Yeah. If you lost your phone, then you might be knowing your passwords and all. First, you have to and, first you have to change your passwords as soon as possible, because
Yes.
whenever it will be going into the evil hand, and then accounts will be get automatically opened up, and he can send the email on your behalf to anyone. He can call anyone, and you can also take the do not store the any of the contacts on the mobile storage. Always store the contacts on the Google Drive or any kind of OneDrive features, so that you can retrieve your contacts whenever you lose the mobile. So that evil person will not having your contacts in his in his hand. So once you change the Gmail password, the contacts will automatically get vanish off from the device.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So now let's start with clear desk and clear screen policy.
Sir, one
Now
more,
all of us
sir,
are.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you, sir. One more faculty, Mr. Dheeraj Kapoor want to ask something.
Yeah,
He,
please,
he,
Mr. Deepak.
Dheeraj Kapoor.
Yeah, Mr. Dheeraj, please go ahead.
Dheeraj sir, you want to ask something? Mr. Dheeraj Kapoor? Carry on, sir.
I have a question, sir.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, Navneet.
Hi, this is Navneet, sir. I just wanted to ask this WhatsApp backup you are saying you to store on the one Google Drive. So
Yeah.
WhatsApp messages are encrypted between.
Right. Right.
But if you get the backup over the Google Drive or somewhere in, or even in the phone, these messages are not encrypted anymore.
No, these are encrypted
So
because
how to encrypt those data? Those data?
no, these messages are still encrypted because there is a private key that is associated with your mobile phone that automatically get mapped to the WhatsApp. So that private key is different for every mobile number. Whenever you create whenever you create an account with WhatsApp, it creates a one unique key that is like different for every user or every customer for the
That
WhatsApp.
is
So that,
associated with particular
yeah.
mobile number.
Yes, yes. So that means whenever you are sending message, so it will get encrypted through a private key. So whosoever is having a private key, it get decrypted at their end. So definitely your WhatsApp is having your own device is having a private key. Hence, you are able to retrieve that messages.
Okay, so it is not. I mean, this is related with the mobile number or with the device.
Both. Nowadays they are raising the both. They are linking the device and mobile number
Because
also.
see, I have the backup over the Google Drive of WhatsApp chats. Now I changed my mobile and I wanted to get my backups on my new phone. So
Right.
is it possible to get it on the new phone? Because phone has changed, so the key has lost.
But you have given the permission to the like, let's assume you're using the mail ID abc@gmail.com. If you're using that
Okay.
email ID, then you can retrieve that chat. If you're using another mail ID, then you will not able to retrieve the
Yeah,
same,
yeah.
because that private key will
Okay.
get associated with that mail ID also, because you are storing on the cloud, not storing in the storage.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. And anyone having any another question? So, let's say now how to check the password strengths when you are keeping a password of your Gmail and all. So this is the website where you can check the password strength.
Hi, sir.
Yeah, hi.
Sir, I want to know कि I मतलब suppose my friend WhatsApp link their email and then I can I can retrieve that data, that WhatsApp data on their Gmail. Can I fetch it or not on my phone?
Oh, I didn't get you. Can you repeat?
Sir, my friend's phone,
Okay.
their WhatsApp
Okay.
data are uploaded on their Gmail,
Hmm.
and then I can use my WhatsApp and I can
Hmm.
retrieve their data or not. मतलब
Yes, you can retrieve. Yes, you आप retrieve कर सकते हो. You can retrieve his data on your phone if you are having the Gmail password. Unless until you cannot retrieve.
sir, there this is a backup or not?
This is a backup only.
Backup only.
Yes, yes.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay. So now this is the website where you can check the strength of the password. Let's assume if I'm keeping my password as Sanjeev. So hackers means these automatic machines that you can see here. These are the password crackers that are known as password crackers, and through these tools we can crack the passwords. Let's assume the like we can use man in front of any tool to know what the tool exactly doing. Let's say if I use man and crunch, then you can see crunch will generate the word list of characters. So I can generate a character a list from with the crunch tool. So I can specify minimum length and maximum length, then character string and options. So let's assume if I let's assume the scenario. Let's say notepad, and I know like Mr. Deepak is keeping their password and he's using few numbers of his date of birth, and let's assume his date of birth is 24th in June. So he's only jumbling these characters to make his passwords, or he's replacing e with or like a with at the rate and all. So I can use these like these permutation and combination with this tool, and I can get the total entire list, how many combinations or permutations are there with Deepak 24 June. Like what are the possible passwords that can be made through these alphabets and these number only. So let's have a practical look. So here I can see the crunch command can be like that. So crunch, then minimum length I can use Deepak whatever Deepak sir is using, minimum length is 8 and maximum length is he using 10. So I can give the character string there. Then options I can give, there are many options like a number option, hyphen b is used for number options, and there is another options that we can do. And if you can put enter, then c is their number. And now I will go ahead and I will generate the list. I can tell you. So I'm using crunch tool. So I'm specifying minimum length is 5 and maximum length is 10 for cracking the password, and giving the character Deepak 05 or at the rate. So I come to know that Deepak sir is using only these characters and these numbers to get the passwords. So it can be anything. Deepak at the rate 06. It can be Deepak 0 at the rate 6. So it will generate all the possibilities within fractions of second. And I see, as you can see now, it is generating the password with minimum length 5 and maximum length 8 with all the permutations and combination data exist. So what hackers will do, they will keep these password into the one list and traverse all passwords one by one into your passwords. If if you have not enabled 2FA, then these passwords can be cracked easily. So so any question on this? This is the brute forcing attack on the password.
So again, a question here.
Yeah,
So these things will create a word list.
right.
So this word list we use to hit the password on some other tool, or by this crunch tool itself.
No, by there are different tools. So, once I will be having this word list in my hand, then I can use, there is another tool. Tomorrow we have a session for website security. I will take one of the website. I will take the password. I will try by one. The tool is known as Buff Suite. So Buff Suite is the tool that is used to like automate the attacks and traverse the all the word list on the login page, on the sign up frame, on the contact us page, and that, the pages that generally do not have a 2FA implemented. So we can get passwords from there easily.
Okay, okay.
This is the Buff Suite that I was talking. That I will show you tomorrow in the website security. This one. Okay, so password, let's say it's I've kept my password as Sanjeev. So it's for hacker, it will take 200 milliseconds to crack this password. So whatever the password you're keeping for your Gmail, Facebook, Instagram, you can try here in this website, and you can check how much time it will take it will be taken by hacker to crack your password, and you can change your password. I highly recommend, if you are keeping simple password, you can change your password. So I'm pinging this chat, this link in the chat. Where is the chat option? So this is the website where you can check your current password and can change the password if it is a very like a vague password and all. So now come to the main topic again. So these are the, and this is the website where you can check have you ever been like hacked or not, if your mail ID is ever been hacked or not. Chat option is not coming somehow. Yeah, I will share this PPT with Mr. Deepak. He will share with you. So clear desk and clear policy. I assume all of us are working from home nowadays, whether it's a faculty, whether it's an employee, everyone is working from home nowadays. So let's talk about clear desk and clear screen policy. So basically, in the office, what we do have a one cabin, or we do have a one chair and one table where we keep our passwords on the table. Like this is my login password, this is my admin password, this is whatever the password we have. We put the sticky notes on the table, and for easy recollections, or you can easy remembrance, we put the passwords on the sticky notes and paste it over the table. So we should not keep one whenever we leave the laptop or desktop from the desk, or from the table, so we should press the control plus alt delete to lock the system, or you can simply use window plus L key. These are the like basic etiquettes that we should follow. So now let's talk about the scenario. I've created one scenario, and this is the like scenario that I've created for clear desk and clear policy screen for work from home users. Nowadays, I think Deepak sir is also working from home. Correct, sir?
Sometimes we have to go.
Yeah. So let's assume this is the scenario that I've created. So anyone can read it out for me and help me out with answers. What should we do? So this is like a basic question like I've created, like Christian is working from home and is reviewing some documents which contain some client confidential data. A friend comes to visit her with his family. The guest happens to work for Real of ABC client. Let's assume I'm working for one firm, and and some guests are coming to my house, and that guest is working against of my current firm, and he noticed like I'm having an information of his firm on my table. So I should not keep the information on my table, or I should lock my system whenever is shoulder surfing on my like laptop or my desktop, whenever someone is doing. So this is the scenario that I've created for work from home users, and this is the answer that we can go ahead, like securely lock her laptop by using control or delete. It means we should not or if we are opening our laptop in front of anyone, he can use my laptop or computer to send out an email to anyone. It's to send out my personal data to his own computer, or to send to he can copy my own data into his USB drive. So we should not do like this, and we should keep our laptop or desktop logged during if anyone is like surfing us, or if anyone is doing shoulder surfing on us. So any question on this clear desk, clear screen policy?
Okay, good. Go ahead.
Yeah. So again, now we have a social engineering concept. So what can anyone help me? What is social engineering? Any one of you can give a try. These are basic terms that everyone should aware, like what exactly the meaning of these, so that we should not be a victim of cyber fraud and all.
Yeah, hi, so social engineering is basically, all the social profiles which are there with individuals, and how hackers utilize them to engineer it for their own benefit.
Those terms that people get confused that phishing. Phishing again is both are related to gathering information. And I think someone is on not mute. Hello. Yeah. So both terms are gathering information about the target or victim. So social engineering is dealing with the person through social media or through interaction, or we can meet that person and gather some information. Let's assume if I know Mr. Deepak sir, I can gather information about his current role in the social media. He's an associate professor with Galgotia College. I gathered one information. Then he's married now and his wife living at some place. He has two children and all. These all information I can get it from the social medias, and from the LinkedIn I can get information where he has been studied, and what was the college he has went through, and what was his date of birth and all. These are the tricks that hacker uses and utilize them while there are certain questions in the bank sites. You have heard about that are known as um, questions like safety preventive questions, like you have to put your mother's maiden name, you have to put your date of birth and all. If you forgot some password and all, you have to give your date of birth and OTP to reset your password. That information can be gathered through social engineering. So here I made a slide on social engineering also. So these are the do's and don'ts that we should do, these are the don'ts that we should not do while on the social engineering. So let's assume this person got a call, and he's asking like, hi Dave from IT service here, so I need to update our user database. Could I have your login and password? So this is the scenario that I've created. Let's assume we should not do, and we should not trust anyone and over the call. And these are the don'ts that we should not do, and these are the do's that we should do. Like we should ask for as I said, like we should ask for confidential data. um, like we should verify the authenticity of that person to whom we are speaking. If we are speaking to legitimate person, then only we should reveal our information, otherwise we should not reveal. Any question on social engineering? Yeah. So now moving ahead to phishing. These are the do's and don'ts for phishing. Phishing is basically like manipulating a user through the fraudulent email. So that seems to be a legitimate email. Let's assume with example. So these are the like do's. Remember that the company or other reputable organization would never request personal information from you via email. So someone is sending you email and asking for you, hey, can you fill out this form, this first name, last name, your date of birth, mother's name. You should not fill the information and provide the information to that person if you do not know that person. So if you can become a part of the scam, fraudulent scheme. So that is what I do, like suggest you should not trust any email. And how to verify the emails are from legitimate person or not, that I will be talking about in next slides. So these are like what should you do. Read the email immediately. If you have already received the email, do not provide the personal information to any public website or http websites or any social media that you do not trust. So this is the scenario that I've created. Let's assume you have received an email from sbibank@gmail.com. If you are not attentive, if you're not having attentive eyes, then you think like it's the mail came from the SBI bank itself, from the user xyz@gmail.com. And the subject is like urgent validation of transaction, dear customer and all. So what you will do from if you receive this kind of information, what you will do? I will hand over the question to you guys. whenever you receive these kind of emails, what you will do? You will blindly double check the link that they have sent, or you will double check on who has sent, or you will treat this email came from SBI Bank, or you will blindly give the information on this link. What you will
This
do?
will automatically be segregated by Gmail, no?
No, nowadays, uh, we are working professional and all. So if someone has not implemented the cybersecurity practices or better cybersecurity solutions in their organization, so it will not filter out for everyone. So we should have a open eyes to check from whom we are receiving an email. So that's right. In the Gmail, we have a spam filter. But if let's assume if Gmail has marked at the rate hacker.com, if the mail is coming from this domain, then it will go to spam. If I have created I will go practically here to answer Deepak's question. uh, so this is the website that virus total. Here, like I can check like my URL and all, and I can search my website. So let's assume if I'm searching www.google.com. Okay. So here you can see this is the green symbol. Like it can be trusted. Everything is clean, clean, clean. And now this virus total is doing detection through various inbuilt security features. Bitdefender is there, cybercrime is there, Siren is there, emerging threats is there. They all have defined Google as a clean link. Let's assume now Google has made a like list. Like if the email is coming from @hacker.com, then it will go to spam. Let's assume if I have created one new website that doesn't have any signature at all on these websites. So do you think, Deepak sir, like it will show as a malicious link or it will show as a clean? If it's a new website, it's like I'm using specifically I've made it to target you only. I've created one website and I've made it public today only. You are the first victim. Then do you think these virus total and all will treat my that email as a suspicious email or scam email,
Might be, might not be.
right? So we cannot trust on the Google itself, because the Google is taking the signature from the different websites, malware.com, URL checkers, openfish and all. If anyone has reported this is a fake email or spam email, then only Google will send that email to spam folder. Otherwise it will not send. So we should have a open eyes to like whosoever is sending an email to us. Otherwise we should not trust. So I hope I have answered your question, Deepak sir.
Yeah,
So anyone, I think Neetu was raising hand.
Neetu, do you want to ask something? Neetu, ma'am?
No, sir. Hello, sir. Now my doubt is clear right now.
Okay. So
Yeah.
now here, like I said, like what you will notice. So I made like you should check legitimate company sending an email with their registered domain or not. So it should officially it should be from @SBI Bank.co.in. It should not be like gmail.com. So then they are using dear customer. No one is like using the generic term. So if the mail is meant to you, it should be dear Deepak. It should not be dear customer. So they will address you by generic names like customer, friend, etc. And here you can see click here to validate your account. No, a bank is never says to you ki validate your account over an email. They will ask you to come online and you can visit their branch. So never trust on the links that are embedded into the email before double checking on the link. So be smart, and you can visit your branch before clicking on the any URL or any link in the email. So I have one open question for you. If you find this email and all, you can report this email to your bank immediately, so that your family member should not get up uh, be a victim of this email and fraud scheme. So here again, this is another example of this. Like the email came from securityomnimicrosoft.com. So you know the domain of Microsoft is microsoft.com. it is not a security.on microsoft.com. You should notice the domain. Then you should, it contains the virus file, as I told, like if signature is .pdf, it can have a like .php shell into that, and that can like execute into your system and can give the access of your computer to the person. So then they are using two generic terms and urgency, they are showing poor grammar, they're using customize what included, and they are and you can hover your mouse over the link before clicking on that link. Let's assume if I hover, I have hovered on this link, then the link was http. It was the this is the IP address of some machine, and I was supposed to give the information on this link. So we should not trust on phishing emails. We should open our eyes and mind before responding to any email. So this is the like any open question, any like questions on phishing? Any doubts on phishing email? How to identify and how to respond? These are the practical practical mails that I have received few years ago. I have included in this slide.
Okay, good to go.
Yeah. So the as I said, like phishing is a act of attempting to fraudulent acquire sensitive information such as password, SSN, PIN, credit card data by preventing a trustworthy person. So how to prevent? You can use email spam filters, and you should identify the identity of the person who is sending an email to you, or you can report. If you are receiving any email, you should report the you should report the spam email to the spam filters and all, so that others should not get the victim of this phishing attacks. So social engineering, like you have to like confirm the identity of the person before like talking. Let's assume if I send a request on Facebook and I'm saying I'm Deepak, you should verify whether I'm Deepak or not, before like revealing your personal information to me. The why how to how to prevent from the virus and worms. You should have a like antivirus or endpoint security softwares into your machines or desktop, so that it should not like install the viruses and worms that are coming from unauthorized softwares or sources. So I'm done. Any questions for me?
Sanjeev, what do you think about that? Whether person should, whether person is having means Windows on his system, whether
Yeah.
person should require the antivirus or not, or Windows Bitdefender is more than enough.
No, you like if you talk about the Windows operating system, I recommend you should enable all the security conditions. Like in the Windows, you can see there is a inbuilt Windows security. You should turn everything off. Firewall should be on. Account protection is on. These are the basic features that you should follow for the Windows security system. And I'm coming to your point. Like you should have a if you think you are going to any unauthorized website, then you should use antivirus. Otherwise, there is no need of antivirus. Let's assume if I'm opening let's assume. See, these are the some virus codes, or here I can get the uh, if I'm visiting HTTPS connection, then there is again no requirement of the um, antivirus solution. If I am clicking on any of the unauthorized link here, and I'm not sure like this link is link is safe or not, then I definitely need a this antivirus solution into my machine. Otherwise, I cannot identify whatever the connections are being made from my this current machine to the outside world. So if you're using some particular website or particular links, then there is no requirement of the like antivirus solution. Otherwise, definitely it is recommended to have a good antivirus solution.
Only for visiting the websites. Uh,
Yes, yes.
we
Like these are
require.
the, yeah. Because like how you can be a victim of cyber attack, either through email or either through unauthorized websites, like visiting HTTPS websites or executing malicious malwares or software. Let's assume. See, this is the like free malware testing files. I can, if I download this malware testing file, it will get automatically executed into my machine. If I am downloading it and executing in my machine, then these are the some sources from where I can download the malware files. If I download that files, I can be a victim of virus, worms, malwares and all. If I do not have a antivirus installed my solution, it can, if slow down my performance of my computer, it can crash my computer, and blue screen can be a like a side effect of that my virus. So that is what like I was saying.
Okay.
So any other questions, audience?
Sir, I have one question.
Yeah.
Sir, what about security on iOS devices?
So as you know, like iOS is almost secure. They do not allow third parties to install their applications on their mobile application. Whenever you need to install anything, you have to install from their app store for installing any application. So iOS is much more secure than Windows system, or from, or if you talk about Android system, then iOS is definitely a secure, and it's a like recommended to have iOS systems and all.
But sir, should we have, I mean, I don't know about this, so I'm just asking,
Yeah.
do we need an antivirus there with an iOS device? Because sometimes there are third-party tools that we do need to download for
Yeah,
some application to work.
definitely yes. Let's assume if you're downloading TeamViewer. So most of us are knowing what is TeamViewer. It's a remote desktop protocol, like where you can take the remote of anyone. This is the legitimate website from where you can download the TeamViewer. Let's assume if you are on Mac operating system, but instead of downloading this software, you have download if you instead of downloading this TeamViewer software from TeamViewer website, you have downloaded some another untrusted
Like
yeah, untrusted
soundforge.com or
source.
something like
Yes,
that. Yes.
download.cnet.com. Then like in this website download.cnet, what I can do, I can put my software as well. I can embed my script into the TeamViewer. Whenever you click on the TeamViewer, that script will get executed in your machine, so I can get your shell. So for that purpose, if you're not a computer person or computer oriented person, then definitely like antivirus is recommended to have. If you are a technical guy, then definitely you will be not downloading TeamViewer from this website.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, welcome. Any other questions?
Anyone else? Yeah, Sanjeev, I have a question.
Right.
Suppose, means I want that you put some light on that. We are having means banks software on our mobile phone. We can do all the transaction of banks on our phone. So how much secure it is?
So let's talk about HDFC Bank then. What I feel like HDFC Bank is more secure. If I go ahead in internet banking, uh, um, I'm talking about only private banks. I have analyzed, actually, I have done the pen testing of this website, so that is why I'm saying it's much more secure. If I continue here, then you can see like it is asking for user ID and all. So whenever you're doing any online transaction, you should not store your banking information like customer ID. You will not able to see the customer ID is not coming automatically. So and there is a there is a forgot customer ID customer link. So here also you are seeing. Yeah, can you please go on mute?
Okay,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah. So here, if you forget the customer ID, they have implemented the CAPTCHA implementation. So these are the security mechanism that you should check like before opening any account with any bank blindly. Like if there is no CAPTCHA, let's assume I come to know your mobile number if through social engineering. Date of birth, again I come to know from your Facebook or LinkedIn profile. If you are giving right, and PAN card, definitely I can ask you like, sir, there is a ITR filing happening this year, so I'm filing form 16 for you and all. I'm calling from Galgotia. I'm calling from admin staff and all. I can get it from you through social engineering. If this is not there, then I can easily bypass your forget password functionality of your machine. So now coming to your question, uh, like you should check proper website, and what are the, you can speak to HDFC Bank, or to whom you are to whom you are associated, having associated your account with them. So you can know the what are the cyber safety security they have implemented for their customers.
I am particularly interested in the mobile banking. Means what is the security features for Android mobile banking? Suppose particular use the applications of these banks.
So yeah, I got it. So let's assume if you're opening any mobile application, let's say HDFC Bank, you've opened a HDFC Bank mobile application. So just do check in the so HDFC Bank mobile application should have a functionality like it should not allow any other application to run in the background. So let's assume I have two mobile applications. One is HDFC Bank, and second is Sanjeev. So if Sanjeev is listening whatever you are typing in the HDFC Bank mobile banking, then it's not a safe mobile banking application in the not a safe mobile application. So HDFC Bank should implement security checks in their mobile application. They should have a vulnerability assessment penetration testing for their application, so that it should it should not allow any other mobile application to intercept their data or to listen their data. That again comes the vulnerability assessment penetration testing of mobile assessments.
That is already being there in the
Yes, yes.
mobile
And
banking.
yeah, basically what industry do, they have a internal cyber security teams. See, this is the team I was talking about, vulnerability assessment and penetration testing. So in industry, what people do, now Deepak sir is mentoring mobile application, HDFC mobile application. Okay. ABC mobile application. So once the team has developed this ABC mobile application, then Deepak sir will route this mobile application to internal cybersecurity team. Then internal cybersecurity team will do a vulnerability analysis. Vulnerability analysis means weaknesses in the mobile application. And if I say like any other mobile application can listen your traffic, then they will try to prove it through penetration testing. So they will furnish one report to Deepak sir. Then Deepak sir will say like, please remediate these all vulnerabilities or weaknesses in the mobile application before launching it to Play Store. So once these all mobile application will be launched, so then again Deepak sir will have a question whether like my team has remediated this vulnerabilities completely or not. So there will be an auditors, like there are big four firms in the world. The big four firm, like one is like KPMG, then PwC, if you see like big four firms, audit firms. So Deepak sir's company will hire one of the audit firm, Deloitte, KPMG, EY, and PwC. These are the brand known biggest firms in the world, and that will do a audit of your mobile application. Then cyber security person will come from these firms and will evaluate the security of your mobile application. And if the firm has identified any of the vulnerabilities or weaknesses, then sir will route that vulnerabilities to their internal team. Then again they will patch it out and they will say, hey, we have done the changes, now it's a safe and secure. Again the revalidation will happen through these firms or any other firms that Deepak sir is going to hire out in future. So then these audit firms will say there is no vulnerability, now it's safe and secure, then it is going to be launched for public. Otherwise it will not go to be, not going to launch for public.
Okay.
This is the process like banks and every organization do follow in their organization. There should be external reviewers should be there to verify like there are weakness or not.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Any other questions?
Any other question? Any other participant want to ask something? Very nice session, Sanjeev.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir. Session was very interactive, very informative, very nice session. Really, you aware just about the cyber security, all the security threats, and how can we provide security with Gmail, WhatsApp, and lots of protocols you told us. So really, very informative session. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Deepak sir, for inviting me to here. and in fact, I love to gather more questions if audience is having. So Deepak sir will route the questions to me. I will definitely happy to answer all of the
Yeah,
questions if
yeah,
I left out.
sure.
Yeah. So shall I drop now?
Sir, just stop your sharing. I want to share something with you.
Yeah. Okay.
Sanjeev sir, this is for you from
Yes.
on behalf of entire IT department, Galgotia College of Engineering and Technology. Thank you, sir.
Yes.
Thank you for your valuable time.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Deepak sir, for inviting me for
Sir,
this lecture.
this will be mailed you by Deepak sir.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay. Bye bye. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
So we are off for now, ma'am.
Participant, any query from your side? Anyone? Acha, someone is asking about his mail ID. Deepak sir, if you can provide, please provide his Mr. Sanjeev Kumar mail ID to the participant.
Okay.
Okay.
He's one of my students, so
Okay.
I will definitely get it. No issue.
He will provide you. Any other question? Again, I am telling you each and everyone here that daily we are recording your login, your total meeting time here. The time when you enter here and the time you leaving here, both are recorded in Zoom, and we can we can download from the Zoom itself. So daily 270-minute session are going on. If you will count total 3 sessions, each session of 90 minutes, so we can count here like 270 minutes are going on. So at least 80% attendance is mandatory for all of you to get the certificate, because this will be only counted by monitored by the AICT only. Okay, so we have to show there daily your time which you are attending here. So if any participant will attend below than less that time, so IICT will not allow to issue the certificate to that participant. And one more condition is there at the 5th day, that is the last day of the FDP, there is an exam. There is a test and feedback link I will provide you on that day only. So everyone have to achieve there at least 60 to 65% to get the certificate. So whatever basic conditions will be there, that will be you informed later you by Dr. Deepak Gambhir to all of you. On 4th day, we will tell you all the basic condition of clearing your exam. And meanwhile, Dr. Deepak, I request to you, please, whatever study material you are getting from the speakers, please share with the participant so that they can prepare
Yesterday
accordingly.
I have mailed one book also, and
Okay.
the PPT slides of Kavita ma'am too.
So that
Yesterday
everyone.
I have slides of everyone, so I will mail that also.
Yeah, because in the exam there will be like MCQ kind of question paper will be there, and whatever session you are attending, questions will be related from that sessions only. So if Deepak sir will share all that handouts or data, whatever his speaker are providing us, so it will help to prepare for that exam, because question will come from those session only. So if
even by the presenters too. Even ma'am is asking, Kavita ma'am is asking that shall I give the test to the participant? I said no. There is a one common test at the end.
No, sir. What we can do, we can ask all the questions from the speaker by merging all those questions, because they have taken the sessions. So definitely they will provide a more good questions. Okay, so from each session we can collect questions from them, and by merging all those questions we can make their MCQ based question paper. Yeah.
Very good.
Any question from anyone?
दीपक सर, ये तलवार सर के पीपीटी कल भेज देंगे क्या? वो ठीक से सुना नहीं पाए सर मैंने.
You will definitely get it today.
अच्छा, thank you very much sir. Thank you. Thanks a lot. And your
Prakash ji, after ending each session, Deepak sir just mail to every speaker for handouts and PPTs. We request after each session to the speaker, please send your PPTs for the participants. And I think once he will get all the PPTs, accordingly he will send to all the participants. Okay, sir? We will try to provide you all the study material related to this FPP.
Prakash sir, you have received the yesterday mail about.
हाँ, मिल गया मेरे को. बुक भी मिल गई आपकी और वो भी मिल गया, दोनों चीजें. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. But my request is like I was interested in listening to the recorded video of Kavita, ma'am, because she has explained the numerical and the diagrammatic representation of the different aspects of her presentation. So it would be really helpful for us for preparing the exam and even the delivery of the lectures. So will it be possible for you to share the link with us regarding the video of the Kavita ma'am's lecture?
Sir, sir, we told you yesterday also. After completing all the 5-day session, we can upload all these video link to AICT portal as well as in Galgotia's portal in both places. But meanwhile, the FDP, it will only decision taken by Dr. Deepak Gambhir. He will tell you about this. Dr. Deepak, is it possible for Dr.
Not
Deepak?
possible.
Not possible.
Okay, sir. No problem.
Okay.
For this session, I request you to that you attend these sessions.
Yeah, I'm attending this, all the sessions.
Why I left the Kavita ma'am session then, sir?
Hello.
Hello, I was there in her session, but some things I could not hear because of the network disconnectivity. And for 15 minutes, there was a problem for conducting the session, which I have already left. So that 15-minute session, I just wanted to get the information. So that was the reason. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Okay, I will tell my concerned team if possible, then we will do it for you. Otherwise, it's very difficult. I request you all that please be here.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. So yesterday, tomorrow session are also very important. We are having with us from the Chief Technical Officer from the Delhi Police, and the person from DRDO is also coming, and Sanjeev will also come. So tomorrow I would require the 100% cooperation from you people. Yes.
Yes, please. And I am sorry for today's inconvenience at the morning session. Sorry to all the participants. Due to some technical issues, it was delayed. So we will try. Tomorrow we will definitely start our session on time. So please be present on time.